to order. Ronnie, would you mind giving our invocation today?
Yes. Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come to you today in the name of Jesus, and we ask you to lead us and guide us. Thank you for everyone present here. Thank you for their safety. Lord, let us do everything with wisdom, integrity, and understanding of what the will of God is for our city and for the members and citizens of Odessa. And we thank you for guiding us and leading us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. All right, next item on our agenda is the minutes of September 9th and the 11th. Does anybody have any corrections or additions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 9th and 11th. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Any member of the public may address the ODC board regarding any of its agenda items before or during the consideration of the item. Anybody have anything? All right, contractors' reports. I know Tom's not here. Monica, I think you're going to present.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you all know, my name is Monica Schauner, and I've recently taken on the role for workforce development at the Economic Development Department at the Odessa Chamber. So thank you for having me today, and I'm happy to report today for Tom in his absence. He's asked me to highlight 3 projects that's in the packet. The first one is the Project Atlas. It's a manufacturing oil and gas industry related organization or company. The CapEx is $750 million, and it's looking like they're going to have 100 plus FTEs. They're looking at 200 of the 600 acres in Pinwell. So that's the status of that project. Project Kia is a $20 to $30 million CapEx with the creation of 65 to 75 FTEs. And then, of course, they're choosing between Odessa and Midland. And so we'll report more on that as we learn more on what they're looking for. And then Project R&L is an expansion of an existing business at a new site. And they're $20 million CapEx, and it says 10 to 15 new full-time employees, but they've reported 17, so it's gone up just a few. I wanted to highlight and bring to your attention that in the packet now for economic development, we've included the business retention and expansion activity report as well as workforce development activity report so that you all know the work that is being done in those 2 areas. So I wanted to highlight those. As far as MJ Martinez, she's here. She's our business retention and expansion person. Again, going back to the R&L project, we did a Zoom meeting with the gentleman. He's the vice president of that company, and he is coming to Odessa in November to make a site visit, to visit 2 of the sites that he's interested in. So we're looking forward to hosting him. And then as far as workforce development, I want to thank Mr. Boutan. We had our first workforce development partnership convening, if you will. It consisted of Odessa College, ECISD, UTPB had a representative, but she was not able to attend, but we do have UTPB representation on there. TWC, Skill Point Alliance, we had 3 private employers there, several just, Texas Workforce Commission, just several organizations that are involved in workforce. And so they just all kind of gave their report as to what they do regarding workforce. And as David is known, he took really good notes at that meeting and gave some great input for me. And we are working as a result of that, of having a workforce development opportunities and training opportunities located on our website so that when companies are looking to come to Odessa and they need to know what kind of, or they have, specific employees that they're looking for, our website will have the training opportunities and the partners that are available in the community that they can turn to get those skilled workers. And then the other thing that came from that meeting too was just being more industry specific. So the next workforce development partnership meeting that we have will probably be more industry focused as opposed to bringing all of those together and seeing what their challenges are and understanding if they have common challenges. So that's just some of the work in my learning in this new role. And one other interesting thing that we did was we brought Oxy and Odessa College together. Oxy had reached out to our department. As you all know, they're building a new DAC, direct air capture facility, and they wanted to start talking about the employees that they're going to need for that facility. So that was a great meeting. Again, I mostly just listened and got to hear how that works between industry and higher education and the needs and how they work with them to bring their employees. So that's all I have. Do you have any questions for
Let me
me?
make a couple of comments because I thought the initial effort by Monica to try to pull people together with regard to how can we improve our pipeline of workforce here was really good. It was heavily attended by training folks, if you will, that providing training, special programs and whatnot. And Wes Burnett was there representing RexTac, Oryx, and basically he gave us some insight with regard to, okay, because the challenge was how does our community here and any companies that are thinking about relocating here understand what training opportunities are out there, and how do these entities who are providing training, how do they know what the employer really wants? So there's an effort towards the end of the meeting to say, all right, we got to get more employers in this group. Not a lot, but some key employers in this group, so that that dialogue generates, okay, there's obviously a need here for a new program, and who can do that? Who all can do that? Mm-hmm. Or the employers need a certain type of job skill, and a couple of the providers there say, well, we do that, and so then what's the challenge is, how do we impart that on a regular basis? How do we make it easily accessible to the business community? So I think the direction was really good. I thought it's a really good start.
Thank you. Thank you for being there. We appreciate that support. We want your input for sure. So, any questions for me?
Monica, the meeting with Truxton representatives from Mexico, is that any of those guys that were here before?
Yes, ma'am. They are. They're actually pretty young, but very, aggressive. And so we were able to set up a meeting between David Gomez with Sewell and the two gentlemen from Mexico and Truxton. And so it was a great meeting, actually. I don't know what's come from it since then. I need to follow up with that. But Sewell had requested they would send them their specs. They're going to be providing some kind of tank, and then the Truxton representatives are going to send a quote to them of how much that price would be, and then Sewell would lease the equipment from business to business. So that's the way, but anyway, it was successful, and the gentleman did send an email or text actually to Tom to let them know that they felt that was very worthy of their time, and they're coming back for the oil show because they want to make some more connections with what they provide. And again, they're tanks different size tanks for different liquids. So
So Sewell has a manufacturing company now?
They have, this is the way I understand it, and this is all new verbiage lingo for me, so I apologize if I'm not being solely very descriptive, but Sewell's gonna provide is it the chassis?
The chassis, the vehicle
Yeah,
chassis.
thank you.
And they're gonna put tanks on those
That's
chassis.
right. And then Sewell is going
Okay,
to
that makes
lease, so
sense.
thank you, yeah. Does
So
that
it's a
make more
rig up,
sense?
like a
Okay.
Oil field rig up deal.
Yes, so that's how Sewell fits into that. But it was, again, it was very worth their time, and they were very encouraged by it. And so for the Permian Basin Oil Show, they're bringing their owner, one of the owners, I think there's one of two, to come here so that he can visit with Sewell and possibly open up a business here, so, yeah. So that is productive, so that's a good thing. Any other questions? Okay,
Questions? Thank you, Monica.
thank you.
Christie?
Good afternoon. Just to pick up on what Monica was saying, she shared with me everything that had happened in that meeting. And we're trying to look for some ways that we can help get some of that word out to the public. So we've been working with Monica on a new brochure, kind of reorganizing the workforce section of the website to be a little bit more user-friendly, learn more about the trainings, just try to give them a way to get where they need to be. One thing that we're going to ask at that next meeting is how many of these entities would be willing to have a landing page that we could link to, that they're kind of in charge of keeping up with all of the trainings so that it doesn't fall all on the economic development department, but that we can link to those to make sure that people can get where they need to be. So we're kind of recategorizing that, reorganizing it, and then trying to connect people. And then we've had a couple of meetings with Monica on workforce this month
Christie,
as well.
One of the things that came up at the meeting, and I try to explain, and Monica may have done a lot better job of explaining it than the issue that I'm going to talk about, is to some degree, in order to, if you're going to go through our website, to some degree, you got to be looking for training opportunities, if you will.
Yes.
And I think Wes made the point, said, we don't have time to do that. You know, that's not what. So my question at the meeting was, all right, is there a way that we can force this information out? You know, maybe as a start, we've got information on all the chamber members. You know, that's a significant part of the business community. We gather information based on who looks at what, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there a way to start putting together a list where we can force out, you know, just bits of pieces that says, try to catch their attention with, did you know there's a training program such and such? And if that catches their attention enough, you know, it pops up some way that, you know, because we forced it out to them. Maybe, and I don't know if that's.
No, I think we can do that. And we've got budget each month allocated to workforce already.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some things we can do in like paid social media that would go directly to those people, which would help. I think some of our digital campaigns, we can probably kind of do a did you know and try to link them back to the right places. Basically, I think we'd kind of need a coordinated effort. And this may be a good one to do some PR with our local folks too, just to say, hey, we're trying to get the word out. Will you help us with news stories and things like that? I mean,
Well, and maybe I'm just not keeping up with it, but there's a lot of training that's going on that I was not familiar about. There's one entity that had 2 representatives there.
Skill Point.
I had no idea who that was.
I didn't either.
And
I didn't
so
either.
I'm just wondering, and like I say, I think you have to do it in, you know better than I do from a marketing perspective, but short bursts.
Yeah.
That if that grabs their attention enough to click on it or whatever to, you know, because it popped up some way when they were on their device, that maybe that'd be the way if we did that, you know, and we kind of would see, you know, what kind of response are we getting that way.
Just kind of track it and see. Well, I think maybe even doing it by entity. Monica had reached out about us doing a small video like for Skill Point Alliance because people don't know. And so we're working on setting that up. But I think even if we take OC and UTPB separately, and especially if we have a company who's utilized it, if we can get a quote from them or get them to talk about it, I think that means more to our businesses seeing that another business has taken part too. So we can certainly do that and put more effort behind it. So, yeah, I think we hit on most things. We did start up Workforce Wednesdays again on our social media channels in October. I think with Monica here and having all of those things happening, I think that that's good timing. We are working on the update to the website. I think all of this will kind of evolve. I think we'll keep working on the workforce section of the website as we do these other things. One other thing on the website, and it's kind of noted in here, a couple of months ago, I know y'all had asked about, the spreadsheet from the beginning of time, what has been done, with the different jobs. We've, I got the most recent copy of that from Tom, and we're kind of pulling that together. We've got a section at the website. We talked about doing a ticker, and I think the ticker is a little bit tougher to do. What we're planning to do is maybe change it out every couple of months. How many jobs have been created since the beginning? Then do one really, what's happened in the last 5 years? What's more recent? Those kinds of things. So we're pulling those numbers together, and we are going to be doing something on the website that addresses that. So I just wanted to let you know to watch for that.
Council will be glad to see that.
To see those things. Yeah. One of the,
Can I say something
sure,
before we get too
sure.
far away from the training? Because we talked about this in our advertising meeting with Tim. And Tim and I were bringing this up, talking about training and workforce training. We need to be more specific exactly what we're going to do. There's all kind of safety training, but each, even in the oil and gas industry, each one is a different compartment. And remember us talking about the school over at UTPB where the equipment was? And also
Yeah,
that equipment was auctioned off and sold to a private individual about a month or two ago. And so
Wow.
It's the same thing. And we talked about it. It's sat over there for years with nobody utilizing it. And I know it was probably donated by local manufacturers or whatever. And that's what we really don't want to see is let's don't waste time on trying to train somebody that's not going to utilize it. And it's the same thing. Leadership changes, so vision changes. And so whatever they were doing then probably lost it. But that doesn't negate the fact that oil companies need lease operators or pumpers or whatever they want to call them nowadays. So I guess back to the training part of it, it's the same thing. You can go to everything. We need accountants. And Peggy was an accountant for everybody. We need bankers. People also need that kind of training, not just oil
Sure.
and gas or specific type electricians, whatever. We see those facilities, but are they being utilized? And being that we donate money, $1 million here, $1 million there, are they being utilized in the right way? That's what
Sure.
I'd like to see.
Well, and one thing, we did meet as an advertising committee and talked about some things. We are doing, we just finished one set of videos that I mentioned briefly last month where we interviewed the mayor and MJ and Monica and border states. So we have those that are being edited right now. But we talked about this next round, getting more specific, getting more diversification and some specific trainings in those interviews too. So we're working on trying to set those up so that we can actually hear somebody saying that as well. So,
I wanted to throw that in there before we get too far away.
no, I'm glad. That's good. Couple of other quick things. We are continuing to meet with the staff every month, and I think that that's super helpful just to make sure we're supporting them, making sure that they have the tools that they need. We are updating the BRNE brochure for MJ right now, working on that. One thing I did want to point out, our digital numbers on our programmatic campaigns, we're still at that lower level. They're starting to wane. So we are starting to see those numbers go down. I think when we have these new videos edited and put that out there, I really think it's a matter of just needing to see something new. So I'm not planning to up those numbers on the budget until we get that new creative out. And we'll see how it does before we talk up in the budget on that. We have the budget to do it, but as long as it's performing, I want to keep it where it is. And then one other thing, as we were going through the spreadsheet of everything that's taken place really since the inception of the tax, we're looking at doing highlight stories, kind of a where are they now? Things that we can put on our website, things that we can highlight on social, and this has kind of even come up since our ad committee meeting. But we're going to look at some of those key businesses. For example, Family Dollar, they've gone through a name change, but what has that meant since the beginning? So we're going to kind of go backwards and try to interview some of those folks and get some stories out there on those too. So, because they're still contributing, to us. So, other than that, I think everything else is in the report.
You had that one campaign, I don't know if it was you or
Yeah.
the other firm, but You know, for a long time, they were running a lot of ads that featured Nick
Yes.
and Robert Chavis.
Yes.
You know, they were in the paper, they were in everything you saw, and
Yeah.
it went on and on and on.
Yes.
And, you know, I think they were effective. I still remember them. But I remember thinking they should have some other people. You know, there's a lot of
Sure.
other people here that have gotten funds from ODC.
Sure, to do
So
that.
I
We've-
would just ask that we kind of see if there's
Absolutely.
other people.
Absolutely. We have been trying, we have an article right now that's been waiting, trying to get others who will commit to doing it. Some of them aren't as readily available or are not as willing to do it, but we're trying. So we're trying to do more and more of those. And yeah, I did not do those that ran, but I think you saw them everywhere. That's one thing we're not really doing is we're not placing a lot of local TV or things like that. It's maybe something to look at again because you did see them a lot. You saw them in the golf package. It was on at my house every weekend, so you saw them a lot. So yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you,
Okay.
Christie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Walker.
Good evening to everyone. We'll try to keep the climate high and the mood, try not to bring the mood down because you talk about these big projects and then I got to follow it with the little smaller projects, but you know. And that's, thank you, he's such a sweet young man. But we wanted to start by bragging on our numbers, thank God. We saw such a large increase in our numbers. This is our media, everything from our contacts, walk-ins. This is, and a lot of it was pretty much because we just had our 35th annual Ebony Bar Awards on Saturday. And thank God it's over, so now I can get some rest. But anyway, our numbers were well over 700 contacts. Our social media, and they always tell me what we have, our Snapchat, the Instagram, the Facebook, and then actually the walk-ins, the calls to the office. We actually had, while we were in the process of promoting our Ebony Bar Awards, we had a entrepreneur, we honored our entrepreneur small businesses. We had a company from Midland that has been looking to venture into Odessa. So we were able to sit down with them and partner, almost to the point, partner them with a local Odessa company. See that if they could kind of combine their resources and if we could, they have one in Midland and we're trying to, because we're the Permian Basin, we tell them that we service the basin, but we, like I always say, we have to reach outside because we have to be creative. So our numbers has increased, our counseling sessions, our numbers of walk-ins are actually, our membership is increasing. We think our numbers are going, and I hope that now that the banquet is over and we're starting to get in closer to the holiday season, I'm hoping that we won't have a drop-off because we're to the point now that we're doing some promotional stuff. We ran some promotional stuff to tell some of the young entrepreneurs that we introduced to that. As a matter of fact, we have a meeting tomorrow with a young lady. She is in the process of looking for a brick and mortar downtown. So we're going to show her the areas that are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So we're hoping to have, hopefully by the end of the year, possibly 6 businesses. 2 are in the process that we're going to send them to Tyler because they had no business plan. So they kind of jumped over where they need to be. So I say that to say that we are seeing a lot more foot service, leg service, walk-ins, requests for financial assistance. Can you help us find a brick and mortar? We heard about the downtown grants. How do we go about it? So we're passing out copies of the map. We're telling them what is available. We've done site visits. We've gone to locations with them. Had a young entrepreneur go today with a realtor to Dotsey to look at a location there. So we're excited because we're kind of nudging people and we're getting them to start coming in and I guess not afraid to take that step to go forward with their business. And we have some really unique small businesses and some that we don't see in this area. And when they come in and make their presentation, I let them know that's something we need here. It's not a dumb ideal. It's just something that has never been presented. And you would think that, as many times as the wheel's been reinvented, that you've seen pretty much every business, but we have not. So we have a couple that is really going to be interesting, and I hope that Tyler can kind of get them steered in the right direction so we can get them up and going, because their product is, like the young people say, is off the chain. So any other questions? We have our numbers. We're getting ready for a citywide cleanup on October the 18th. So if you got any grandkids, kids, nephews, nieces that you're trying to punish, send them out and make them clean up trash. So we'd love to have them. We're trying to stay busy. We're going to partner with the Peace Academy on an event they have that's going to be in the green space downtown with Odessa College. So we're doing some partnerships, some sponsorships. We're small, but we're trying to make a big impact. So any questions?
That's October. It's not your report. It's
We're
October.
in September, and I kind of jumped over September. The October, the banquet was the 4th, which is Saturday, and then the cleanup is October 18th. So,
October 18th.
yes, ma'am. And it will be headquartered at Woodson Boys and Girls Club. So
Cool. Any questions for?
thank you for letting me
Thank you
present.
very much.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, Tyler?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Glad to be with you again. You've got the report in front of you, I'm sure, but I wanted to kind of recap, because I always come in here and tell you about stuff that's happening, and I don't always follow up with what happened. So I want to talk to you about the ConocoPhillips program that we did in the third quarter of this year. It was in Odessa. We had 36 businesses, some pretty good 50-50 mix of established businesses versus pre-venture type businesses. We ended up with 32 actually finished the program, so that retention rate means they showed up all 6 times basically over a 6-week period, carved out 2 to 3 hours of their week every week for those 6 weeks, plus whatever they did in terms of homework. So I think it shows a really great commitment. Again, it was a nice mix of clients, the kind you would come to expect that we work with. There was a daycare in Odessa who is planning to expand. There was a barbecue, a caterer. Specifically, he does barbecue, and that's what he caters. And I'm hoping I can be included on the guest list pretty soon. He's doing great. And some other businesses like that. So I thought it was great. We have a gun. He doesn't sell guns, but he works on guns. So he's a gunsmith. That's the word I was escaping me for a minute. So doing those kind of projects are always fun, and they're great for the clients. So it was a nice program. I was pleasantly surprised, this being the first year we did it, that we got, number one, 36 to show up on day one, and that 32 stuck around. Because usually you'll see 40% or so drop off from week one to whatever your end period is. And we didn't see that at all. So that was very encouraging. In terms of the numbers, I kind of wanted to focus on the year-to-date numbers, or the full year numbers, and compare them to last year. There's some good, and there's some not bad, but things that happened that need to be explained. Number one, counseling sessions year over year were up by about 689. That's 22%. It's with the same size staff and everything. Thus, counseling hours were also up year over year. So that's nice. Now, seminars presented. I got to go way back to Q1. If you met, some of you may recall, we had to put on hold and ultimately cancel several workshops because of the change in the administration. There were certain things that were just not going to be allowed, and the ASBDC, even though ours were not considered in that category, still did not want us to do them because they felt like it would show red flags, if you will, because there was a certain group of people who were actually using AI to look at people's websites and their social media to see if they were doing stuff they weren't supposed to do. So, therefore, we ended up 11 short in terms of seminars compared to last year. Now, we're still well over the annual goal of the SBA, which is 25 a year. So we surpass that usually 6 months in, frankly. The good news, however, is the number of attendees actually did not drop very much. In fact, the number of people per workshop increased from about 11 to about 15, a little more than 15. I think I've told y'all in the past, my goal is to hit that 20 mark. That's what I want to get to. It used to be more like 8 or 9 a few years ago. So I feel like we focused in on the workshops that attract people, that people are interested in, rather than trying to force feed them things that they just have no interest in. So we've done away with a lot of those. Basically what I did is any workshop that had 4 or fewer people, I marked it off and replaced it with something else. So, and that's what we'll kind of keep doing. Training hours, you can see that's an increase of 260 years over year. So shockingly, new business starts actually are up a little bit. That's shocking because new businesses are not getting funded right now. They haven't been for months. They're certainly not right now with the SBA shutdown. But year over year, we started the year strong, and that held us together for the year. So we ended up by 5. Now, total capitalization for the entire region was down, but Odessa was up year over year, about 1.23 million over the previous year. Odessa is the only community in our region that had an increase year over year. So that was nice. Full-time equivalents, obviously, new businesses. We're not seeing, right now we're not seeing as many as we have in the past. Primarily, we're seeing the clients. They're just not getting funded because nobody's funding startups. So that's going to affect our FTEs, and that continues to be an issue. So in particular, our bread and butter has always been oil and gas services. Every time we get an oil and gas service company, you're talking 10 to 12 employees each time on average. We're just not getting those. And it's been that way for most of the year. We're getting lots of 1s and 2s, but not any 10 and 12s. So anyway, any questions for me?
I have one, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
The one seminar that you did in September.
Yes, sir.
That had a great attendance.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Business plan.
Okay.
Yep.
And you offer that multiple times a year, right?
That one we normally do a couple times, yes.
Yeah.
So we used to do it more frequently. Now we're doing it more like twice a year.
Okay.
And we had one the other night, the follow-up on that, which is part 2, and we had 56 for that last night.
Cool.
So we're also, still experimenting with time frames. Every now and then we'll do an evening one. It'll get good attendance, but by and large, when we do evening workshops, it doesn't work that well. What works well in West Texas is food. So we do lots of lunch and learns. Now, they only get probably a sandwich out of the deal, but for whatever reason, that draws people in, food. So,
Okay.
and of course, our bread and butter on the workshops is primarily, and the ones that get the best attendance are primarily our financial management, accounting type stuff. Marketing gets good. We just don't do as many marketing workshops as as a lot of other people do. But Grow with Google does well, social media marketing, those kind of things.
So there's Odessa capitalization.
Yes, sir.
Are you, excuse me, are you able to My phone's going off, and I don't know how to turn it off. Are you able to share that information of who the businesses are with the chamber?
So part of what we do whenever a client signs up with us, we sign a confidentiality agreement with each and every one of them. It's a requirement by the SBA. So I can't go into who our clients are and who gets capitalization and who doesn't. I can tell you industries in general, and the industries who did well in Odessa, quite frankly, is our bread and butter type stuff. It was a few trucking companies earlier in the year, and then restaurants. So that's what worked well for us. And a daycare. They were able to add several employees. So that's where the people who got capitalization, that's who got it.
So when you say Odessa capitalization.
Yes, ma'am.
Pardon me, but I want to be sure I understand
Surely.
what that is. Is that SBA loans or
It's
is that
a combination.
grants?
It's SBA loans, it is conventional loans, any of those things, yes, absolutely.
But it's primarily loans. It's
Yes,
not
ma'am.
money. It's not grants.
No. I mean, theoretically, if we, whenever we've done a large grant program in the past, we always had to report that separately. So like, for example, the EIDL loans and the COVID stuff, we were never able to intermingle that with our core. We specifically, as defined at the time by the federal government, had to keep it completely separate. So I used to report to y'all that as a separate number, but it was never included in this number.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Tyler? Thank you, Tyler.
All right, thank you.
Sounds like Chris has some work for you.
James is not here, but I know we were sent the Motran packet. Unless anybody has any comments, we'll go on to Kaylee with the financials. Or Kayla.
One of the Ks. We're used to
Did
it.
we get these?
Yeah,
I
uh-huh.
sent them out in the email.
We did.
Today. I think you got them today.
Huh?
No, I think we got them
Financials I got yesterday or today?
yesterday.
I sent them out way before that too. In an email.
Yeah.
I sent them out last week.
Wow.
And I did have one error on my formula, and I started, but I sent them out, I think Norma sent them out too, but I sent them out, last week.
I need to.
Yeah,
I need to
Friday.
search for
I got it
you
Friday.
instead of.
I was determined not to leave until I had those.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's different.
And Tim, yours bounced back, and I called and left you an email, your address was blocking. So that's why you didn't have yours, but, and, I apologize.
We'll get it fixed. I know I've had some problems. I've got a list that's got kicked out. It's never been kicked back before. But
Yeah, it was weird. Yes, I said it before. And I would like to apologize for my cute appearance today. It's our sports day to our United Way roundup, and so Kaylee and I are golfers. So,
I think
not very
that's
good.
great.
But that's why we are dressed so appropriately today.
Did you get to play?
No, sir.
I thought maybe y'all played.
Y'all wouldn't meet us out at the golf course, so we thought we'd come here. There was nothing really out of the ordinary in these. There was nothing that really caught my eyes needing to be discussed, except for my formula error. On that one sheet, I did go back in and add the line that would show you the cash that needs to be transferred out, so we can get our numbers to match back to the front page better.
So when will that money ever get transferred out? It's a huge number compared to what your income is.
Right now, you're getting all the interest from that. So, we have a lot of things to get cleaned up in finance, and we are right there. Right now, we have our auditors on site, and we have so many things that are getting cleared up on site that we're grabbing the stuff that is just for 24 audit. So I'll get that transfer done.
So that $14 million will go away.
Yes, and you're already feeling the effects of it going away when you look at the balance sheet.
Yeah, it's on the balance sheet, but
Yes,
it's
sir.
still invested. Well, I just wondered, because it's basically
No, you're right.
It's a year's worth of income,
You're right.
so.
Nothing else really stood out significant. I mean, the fund balance is increasing. Most of that is from just extra revenue that we didn't anticipate, extra interest income. And then just not expending all the funds just yet. But nothing else really stood out to me. Are there any questions you might have had about them? Everything else seemed to look as I was expected.
My question is, are you spelling your last name different now?
I got married.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I am.
saw it in the minutes, and I thought it was a mistake. But I don't mean to say your marriage was a mistake.
I've done a mistake before. I don't think so this time.
Wow.
No, I was a hardy.
You went from one H to another H.
Yeah, I kept the A. That way, it's much easier. You don't have to change your initials. I haven't got my name changed legally yet. You cannot imagine how hard it is to change your name legally now. So that's why you see it both ways.
Any other questions for Kayla?
So in September, you will see the September statements will have a much more accurate representation of accruals. We're going to go through all the accruals and get all those done. So we'll have that done. We're actually working on a bunch of that right now.
So when do you think 24 is going to be done?
The 24 audit will be done in November.
Okay.
Will be done when?
In November. They are here. They probably just left. Kaylee and I have been with the auditors all week. So it's going really well. Late nights, but that's what's to be expected. It's just part of it. So we're getting it knocked out.
And our report, the report on, the one that Kaylee set up for us on as we do things and what's left, and we're just gonna get that quarterly, is that right?
Unless there's a big impact
And we'll be
by something we approve.
Yes. So one of the things that we're going to do, historically, we have not been using our ERP software for the benefit of ODC simply because we were just maintaining these spreadsheets. I'm a real big fan of easier is better. And so we're going to get all that stuff entered as encumbrances and all that stuff into our ERP system. So not only will you have these reports, we're going to have it to back up to. We're going to have a reconciliation.
So ERB stands for easier is better?
It doesn't, but I think it should. I think you have just renamed it.
And it's ERP.
But you know what? It worked, huh? So you'll see that, but yes. And so that is going to help us with that reserve report that you're talking about. That's going to help us do that better.
Okay.
And with all the accruals and stuff, it'll make my life much easier.
Great.
Because we're going to have, depending on that project stack, we're going to have a pretty big change here. So.
And as we go through the budget, I have a lot of questions that I'm going to ask on how you want things set up in the books. There's options. So I'll give you the options that GASB will allow us to do. Then y'all can pick what's better for you. I started a list on all those, and then the auditor showed up. So
that'll be on this
for
next year
next
going
fiscal
forward.
year. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. My plan is to start looking at that before our next meeting, have all the questions ready.
Great.
All right. Does that work?
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the committee and officer reports. The Odessa Partnership met. The most significant thing that came out of that meeting was a commonality between all of the taxing entities whereby there were some challenges associated with trying to get factual information out to the citizens of our community with regard to tax rates being considered, what the implication is, and there was all kinds of issues associated with tax rates. As we know, all our citizens are interested in taxes and whatnot. Well, one of the public information officers, Mike Adkins, was there from the school district. So Renee and Mike Adkins agreed to initiate, I guess, an old group pulling back together. I think it had kind of evolved into public information officers associated with the taxing entities, but then they added some business PIOs and whatnot. they're gonna try to streamline that to really just take those taxing entities, PIOs, and see if they could come up with some best practices. They all could share information to try to get information out the most accurately they could, and the most extensively they could. So they'll be putting together that first reconstitution, if you will, of that group. And I think that was something that's really good to come out of that meeting. You had an advertising meeting. Is there anything to add other than to what Christie had gone over?
No, we covered a little bit of it, but mainly on those interviews they were doing, we were talking about getting maybe the Ford, something new that we haven't seen, like the Ford dealership deal. That was one of the best ones I think we've ever done. That got Ford, National Ford, and Sewell Ford, and Odessa College together, and you can see how successful they've been. Maybe get an update on that, and we're looking at, I can't say who it is, I don't think yet, but we're looking at a local company here that's going to qualify. I got a notification that they qualified. That may do something and we'll feature that as well. We talked more about, there's companies here in Odessa that can use us, and it seems like we have trouble getting out to those people. But we may have another one that if we do it, then we can use that, but mainly get those back going again. Like she said, it's hard to get some of them to commit, but we were talking about that, doing some kind of an update of what it is, like that one, I think the one she mentioned up here earlier too. So, but good. I mean, I think they're doing a great job, fantastic job. It keeps us running on our toes, that's for sure. So
Yeah. We also requested to look at something that was not oil and gas.
Right.
Maybe how to reach out to a different.
Yeah.
Other than what we normally see.
And this local business that we're looking at now is not oil and gas.
Yeah, right. So
When we give money to companies, can we say part of that is required for them, we can use them in advertising going forward?
Oh, I don't know about that.
we could probably do that.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
If you don't mind coming to the mic just because of the video purposes, thank you.
I'm thinking we're giving these guys $1 million, they ought to be able to get on the camera for us.
Good point.
I think the thing I've run into, willingness is probably not a good word. We had one who was having triple bypass, who didn't want, I didn't even tell y'all that, I don't think. And then we have one who they've had a changing of the guard, kind of, and so the people that we've had before trying to get in touch, it's gone through like so many different steps. So I feel like in some cases I've lost contact with the people that were first dealing with the board. So I've reached out to Tom on some of those just for some help, but that's kind of what I'm running into. It's not like unwillingness to do it, but having to jump through hoops and some of these people who aren't here yet. So maybe someone else could put more pressure on, though, rather than just from me.
I think
So.
it ought to be, when we're talking to them about it before we sign the dotted line, that, there's a reason why we're getting this money, and we need some help to make sure we have plenty
Yeah.
of it. But my deal is, I think, on this one, it's a local business that's not oil and gas. If it goes through, I think it'll be a good one to feature, and then it'll jog everyone's memory that sees it.
Yeah.
It could be me.
And I failed to mention it in my report, but the Sewell OC Center, we already have B-roll of that one. So part of that is just re-editing what we have. So that's an easy one too. So some of those things we're just kind of putting those in the pipeline. But I'll get with Tom on the ones we can't get through, and we'll push harder on
Well,
them.
I think it would be good for us to follow up to see if there's something that we could put in our contract that obligates them to support us. Now, there's kind of good news and bad news to that. The good news is that they'd be obligated to do it. The bad news is that if they're not very good at it, or they don't really like the way it all turned out, that's not going to work very well. But
Sure.
I think it's worth looking into to see if there's a way that we can add something to an agreement that says that they will assist us in
If we ask them.
promotion.
We
Yeah,
don't have
if
to
we
ask,
ask
we
them,
don't have to
correct.
ask everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But just if asked, it would be helpful.
Okay, I'll put that
Would
on
be
my
helpful.
list.
We don't want an interview from the Ector County Jail behind bars.
Okay, I'll avoid that one. So, thanks.
All right. Anything else on advertising?
No.
Peggy, anything on compliance, and I guess in particular, have we made any updates to our matrix, or if there's still work on that?
Well, we've adjusted the verbiage a little bit that gives us a lot more latitude in terms of the percentages. In other words,
Okay.
we still go about it the same way, only we weren't locked into the percentages we've always used.
And-
And I don't think have they actually adopted that? We talked about it. We've talked about it like 2 or 3 times. But I think that, weren't they gonna have legal look at it?
I thought that was the plan, yes.
And see,
Okay.
what we did is we took the original contract and the original matrix and tried to work with that rather than do something completely different.
Right.
And it had a couple of specific numbers in it that we changed to be ranges.
And I think we were gonna try to emphasize more new jobs and de-emphasize
Right.
the retention of jobs.
And,
little
and
bit.
this allows us to do that because
Okay,
of the range on both of them,
okay,
yeah.
great. Investment review, we did not meet. We probably need to do that, maybe next month, or this month sometime, have an investment review meeting.
Needs to be after the Fed meets, if they meet again.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea. Let me write that down.
We don't actually, we don't really pick any investments, do we? In the city investing them, it's going through the city, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's picking,
She's picking.
them, but she's asked us before, last time we met, we got together and said, do we want this much in CDs? Do we wanna keep doing
Okay.
investments? Do we wanna,
So we do the framework
do we
and
need
then
bonds
she
or-
picks the,
It's kind of an
Yeah.
overall philosophy that we're having an input on. I
we
guess.
talked about it because we thought rates were going down, what do we need to do?
Yeah. Okay, Renee, has a recommendation, to utilize our leftover funds. Probably need to define leftover funds as well.
exit.
As you're aware, once we do our audit, we send the money back to the city. That should be done in the spring, but we have several $100,000 that we'll be sending back. I think part of that was in land development that we did not use. But back in, last month, we co-sponsored a reception with the I-27 committee. Odessa is new to that. They were just given the opportunity to be a part of that. Judge Fawcett from Ector County, as well as Mayor Cal Hendrick, represents the city of Odessa. And he was approached for Odessa to become a member of that alliance. And it's about an $80,000 fee. And so they were talking about, where's the $80,000? Well, I know we're giving back money. So if you all were to approve that, we could pay that out of the money that we would be giving back to you. We could either pay it from the Economic Development Department, or we could know that the city is getting that money back and the city could pay that out of those funds.
And that's the Ports to Plains Alliance, which the intent was for all the affected communities along the potential way that I-27 would go to have some input. And we've never been involved in it. Motran probably has somewhat and represented our interest.
Yes, I think Motran was really pushing for Odessa to have a placement
And
in that.
James
And
has
it's taken
said
over
we need a
it's taken years for us to get a placement with that.
Okay.
Lauren Garduno, who is formerly with TxDOT, the regional engineer here, is over Ports to Plains Alliance.
Is that $80,000 a one-time fee, or is it annual? Do you know?
I don't know. And I would hope that would be a one-time fee.
Well, I
There'd
mean,
be some annual amount, I would think.
And what's the difference between this alliance and what Motran does? Are they not working together?
No, Motran is the Midland Odessa Transportation Alliance specific to Midland Odessa area. You all have placements on that board from the city. ODC has a placement on there. David, are you the representative on that?
No,
Who?
Gavin is.
Okay. Chamber has several representatives on that, and it is specific to Midland, Odessa. So this alliance is based out of Lubbock, and again, it's all pertaining to the I-27 corridor that, again, has been discussed for decades and will happen in decades. None of us may ever see it.
And will any of it ever go through Odessa?
Well, now that Odessa has a place at the table, 2 places specifically, with the county judge and the mayor. Right now, I think the discussion is for it to come down,
1788.
yes, so it'd be between the 2 cities. But again, we've never had an opportunity to be at the table. So this is a unique request in that it would be the city of Odessa being the member.
Tell you anything.
But just through that discussion, knowing we're returning money, and I think that could be, or I had asked David if that would be an appropriate expense for you all.
And I would anticipate that if there is some sort of annual amount that you pay, you contribute, that could just be put into the chamber's budget.
Yes.
Because we have excess every year.
Economic
right?
development, yes.
Makes sense to me.
Well, it does to me. I guess I'm just a little bit uncomfortable not knowing what the financial commitment is. I get the $80,000, and I know where that the money's available to do that.
If you
if
want to
it's
table it,
$80,000
I can probably know in about 3 minutes, because I'll call Lauren.
Well, or we could make a motion right now to
Can we
just,
discuss it? Is it on the agenda though?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
we could make a motion right now to approve this one-time transfer
Oh.
and then because you're not happy with that either.
No, why don't I tell you what we could do is we could go to the next item.
I'll
could
have
do
you an
your
answer.
work, and
Give
then
me
we
a
could
few
come
minutes.
back to you.
Yes.
Let's do that.
I'm sorry, I should have had that information.
Okay.
No, you're
All right.
fine.
Let me go make a quick call.
Any other questions before she does her work?
She's gonna ask what the annual dues are.
Yeah. But you're gonna find out what the financial commitment is now and going forward.
If they know, they may not know.
All right, we've got an item here that I'm a little bit torn as to how to proceed with it. Tom's not here. He's listed as going to make the presentation with regard to Project Stack. We don't,
They didn't tell you anything?
Monica was not prepared to deliver that information. Peggy, I think, knows all the details of what went through the compliance committee and what was approved. If you're comfortable with Peggy making that presentation of information and answering any questions, we could move forward. What I'm torn with is, I don't want any of the board members to feel like they're being pressured to act on an item and not have all the information that they want. But I also want to be nimble enough that, we can, if we get all the information, that we can make a decision and then we're not pushing this off for another month. So,
My question was, how did they come up with this weird number,
Well,
8,194,000?
I can tell you. I can tell you.
Yeah, let's start this way.
We can discuss it, and then we
Let's-
table it if
yeah,
we don't like it.
Yeah, and if we table it, if we're not ready to make a decision.
Yeah. And a while ago, when I was talking to you guys, I said 300,000, it's 200. Okay, the project, they've come back and asked for 20 million, the county, for this parking garage. And, 20,486,992. And that is going to be to build a parking garage that has 500 parking spots. Now, in addition to that does not include the build-out of the post office that's inside. On the first floor, they're gonna actually put the post office on the first floor. That's the amount for the construction of the parking spots. Those parking spots are estimated to be 150 for the post office, 150 for the county, including jury, That's 300, and that leaves 200 public parking spots. And we had talked in compliance that how could we didn't think that we should build the parking garage for the post office and for the county. So that's why we got kind of the estimated breakout of public spots. So if you take 200 public spots divided by 500 total, that's 40%. And compliance came up with funding 40%. So this crazy number, this 8 million and something, is 40% of the 20,486,992.
Right.
Kathy, did I represent that correctly? You know, the discussion was how much percentage should we fund of that? We knew didn't think we should fund it all. And it got down to actually just talking about how many really are going to be public parking spots. Now, you know, their argument is that there's going to be a lot more public parking because at night those other ones will not be used. And but there will be 200 that are public parking 24/7. And I think that was kind of why the decision was to fund that much, because it would be for public parking.
Okay, my understanding also is it's driven to some degree by a response from Jeff Moore with regard to, is this a project that's legal under our 4A formulation? And did Tom get a written response from him and that and to indicate that was legal as long as all of those as what we funded was available to the public all the time?
I'm pretty sure he did, yes.
Pretty sure.
Well,
Yeah, here we go again with the
Yeah.
question I brought up, pretty sure. That's why I say, I wanna be sure, I wanna see it in writing, that it's okay for us to do this, and we don't wanna get into the same thing back and forth, what some stuff's going on now. Is, if we can do it, yeah, and if everybody has their own idea about it, if they can do it, then yeah, but let's make sure it's the right thing to do and the right way to do it.
did Tom present that to the compliance committee
A letter from
from Jeff Moore?
I don't,
Yeah, see, there just seems to be a lot of questions. Yeah.
and if we don't want to vote on it because we don't have a couple of specific answers, at least you know where the number came from.
Yeah,
I'm-
yeah,
I'm-
I just thought it was a weird number.
Yeah,
understand
it was
that.
a weird
That's okay.
number, but that was the thought process behind the allocation.
Okay, and before we get away from this, let's talk about why would we even be considering this? Because this is one of the things that I just had to run through my mind. All right, so why would we do this? Well, I think we have a history of supporting the revitalization of downtown. The county's gonna spend a lot of money on the new courthouse, the new post office, library, and certainly this parking garage. And so if we, and you know, we have an ongoing, we have ongoing support with our facade and infrastructure grants of the revitalization of downtown. So in my mind, that's what makes it make sense. And if you follow the philosophy that says we're willing to fund the parking garage, the portion that the public is available to the public all the time, then that matches up with, you know, we're trying to facilitate more downtown traffic. Certainly retail and any other business type traffic that's going on. I would like to see at some point, just as an aside, I think one of the critical things that needs to happen at some point is that the people need to be living downtown, and you know, and I don't know how that's going to happen or, you know, when, but I think that's going to be important.
Well, all successful downtowns have
Mhm.
have
Residents.
lodging.
Yeah, so, you know, I think that would be the motivation for doing it. There is a precedent, not that we ought to be doing things just because of the precedent, but that the city, the ODC supported the Marriott Convention Center parking garage with $8.4 million of support, which I think was the entire parking garage. That's what the cost was at that time. So it's not like it's out of the realm of reason or that we haven't done anything like this before. So there is some precedent for it. But I do think it makes some sense to consider it, and that there is, again, that would match up with the board's inclination to support the revitalization of downtown. I mean, if we think we need to have this,
It'd be good to have that letter from that attorney saying that this is good, this is a good use of those funds. Don't you think?
yeah,
Yes.
well,
When they first came and brought that to us, and the $20 million number was, I didn't think there was any way we could do that. Now that they come back and I agree the way I think it's justified the way you've managed that. So I have no problem with it.
I guess, but,
I just rather have all the information, cause.
yeah.
Yes.
You look at the things that are happening in the city and stuff, when we think we got it right, and we go find out, and well, what someone thought, and that letter's gotta be key.
Yes, sir.
I think I'd also like to know why the disconnect between the agenda being put together and nobody here to present it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I'm not happy about that.
well, I was gonna add that too, cause we had the deal where we came up here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the people that we met with, that talked to and said they were gonna do all this, they didn't show up.
Yes, sir.
And left us, I think, looking a little off-center. And I think if there's something gonna be on there, I think we need to have people from both parties or whoever's involved
Yeah.
here to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
And then it'll move a lot smoother, and you can answer, we'd have all the answers, questions, and voted on and gone right now.
Okay, are there any other questions that we want to have answered so that we can, and Kathy can be taking notes and carry that, and
How many
Renee can
spots
also?
were in the Marriott parking, do you know?
No.
Just for,
Do what?
How much?
How many,
money?
how many spots in the, in
was
the
in
Marriott?
that parking
It's like
garage?
300, I think, but we never designated.
All right, I'm just
Yeah,
curious
I
what,
think it's
how
three.
much,
I
how much
think it's
parking we're adding
300.
for another $8
Okay,
million
let's
bucks.
Yeah.
try to get that information.
And just for clarification, so we'll make sure, and somebody's taking notes, but I know Tom knew this was on the agenda. He told me it was on the agenda, so we reached out to Brian Green, but he didn't have it on his calendar. I don't know where the disconnect is. Completely agree with you. We should not have that. We will take care of it. You will have someone here at the next meeting
Okay.
to address that, and I apologize.
It's not like they gotta have the money anytime soon, is it?
No, I think it's the commitment that they're the most anxious about. I think the judge is still thinking it could be 20 million.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't,
we need to
I'm
we need to
just
table
being,
it and make sure he gets the right number.
yeah, yeah, no, I'm just being flippant about that. I don't know what he thinks, but.
Ronnie, do you have any other questions
Well,
that you
no,
want to get answered? Again,
I'd like to make sure that that's what we can do. It's right for us to do it. And then Tom brought up the question, you know, you go around the downtown, how many people actually realize that the Marriott is public parking? Are there actually signs there that say public parking in that garage? Or, now that's just a question.
Well, I can tell you that it's
It's supposed to be, is that not right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be public
it's
parking?
public
It's public.
parking,
Yeah,
and
that's free.
people, a
But it's-
lot of people park there.
Yeah, I
It's too
understand.
far away from like, for jury people to use.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And they'll find something closer,
Right.
even if they're parking where they're not supposed to,
right.
cause they don't wanna walk. But
Yeah, but I'd like
it's,
to see what's available, but the main thing is can we do it?
yeah.
You know, that's my thing, and I think everybody feels the same way.
You need a motion to table it till
Yes.
next month?
Yes.
So I make that motion.
second,
There you go.
Have a motion and a second to table, item 9. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Renee, are you ready to follow up on item 8?
Yes, so I spoke with Tina Scarborough, who had originally sent me the information along with Lauren. It is an annual fee. It is based on your census. It's 61 cents per person, so it will fluctuate each time the census is updated. Ours currently is based on the 114 some odd thousand people. So it's not 80,000 the mayor originally thought, it's just under 70,000. It is an annual fee. They normally send the bill out in to be paid in January. So if we pay this October, November, that's for 14 months. So in your question, as far as would we continue to budget this for economic development, I think going forward, we would see if that would happen or if the city would budget it. But we just felt like since we have that money left over, we know it's coming back to the city. I think that's, if it's appropriate use of those funds, then.
Yeah, and I guess from a financial perspective, I think if this board agrees that they want to fund that out of returned funds that is excess basically available to ODC, then we ought to be prepared that that's going to be an annual fee and we're going to pay for it every year. Because I think it would make no sense to pay
Sure.
it for a year and then drop out. That doesn't make any sense at all.
How much
to
is-
me, and I guess one more thing, what this buys us is seats at the table to be able to influence the direction and the ultimate, all the details that are going to be considered when the completion of I-27 is done. That's what we get out of it, right?
We already have the 2 seats. They've been designated for one for the county, one for the city. It didn't require you to buy the membership, but the city has not had a membership in the past, and since they now do have seats at the table, the mayor felt like it was important that the city did have a membership. Midland does have a membership. We've just not had one in the past, and we've never had a seat at the table, never had a reason, really, to have that membership.
Was it a fair question if we decide to do this to get us started, and then let the city, if they want to have that seat, come out of, we're not committing that it's coming out of our budget every year.
Correct. You're not committing to that, but going along with what David was saying, he felt like, and please know that we could send the money back to the city. You know, it doesn't have to be paid out of economic development. So you don't have to, if that's the case, we're sending the money back anyway, and they can pay it directly.
But we're still paying for it because it's excess monies, right?
Well, it was economic
I mean-
development.
Yes, yes,
It's-
yes, it's coming out of the same bucket.
Yeah, yeah. So each year, Renee, what's the average amount that you guys send back to the city?
It varies every year, but we hope that we budget correctly and we're, but the last couple of years, it's been around 100,000.
It's probably going to be less this next year because we took a big item out of the budget, if you remember, that was
Yeah.
not being
But
used.
we were always
Right.
sending back.
45,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the time frame on I-27? Does anybody know?
I don't know, but I don't know that it would be in a time period where any of us are
No,
here.
that's what, and none of that interstate is gonna be in Ector County, is it?
Unless we get on
It's
the board and
between the
make it
two.
Come down
I'm just-
385 like it should.
I mean, we're putting up, we've always wanted, since I moved to Odessa, we talked about I-27 coming down through middle of Midland, Odessa, and going to La and Pentrada, whatever it's called. You know, we've talked about it for 30 years. And then we got away from it. I remember Motran saying, well, we don't really need an interstate, and it's probably gonna go through Big Spring, so I don't know that we need to keep pushing for
Well,
it.
Motran's definitely still pushing for
They're
it.
pushing for it.
And wanting it to connect, if it comes down 1788, then to connect to 385 South.
Yeah.
So-
But I don't know that it's ever gonna have a mile of highway through Ector County.
If it went 385 South, it would be a small portion of Ector County.
I would say, I'm not sure that's critical, because if you think about all the traffic that comes on an interstate,
I
it's
know.
gonna be economic, it's gonna be a lot of commercial traffic that's gonna affect the Permian Basin. So, I don't know if that's a big deal.
This 80,000, does it pay for 14 months, did you
Yes,
say?
and it's just under 70,000, once you calculate the 114 by 61. But yes, it does cover 14 months.
You know, I personally think that we should approve this for this membership for these 14 months and see, I mean, are we the smallest, and being on this thing really means nothing because our voice doesn't mean anything? Or as the mayor goes and the judge goes, I mean, do they say, yeah, this is something we need to be part of? I mean, this is excess money. It's not a small amount, but it's excess money, and that you're gonna send back one way or the other.
Yes.
It just is whether or not we're gonna designate what it goes for.
Correct.
So I think it's worth 14 months of trial to see, because we may say, shoot, Lubbock and these other towns are so big, they have so many votes, it wouldn't make any difference what we said.
Sounds like a motion to me.
I move that.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the payment. It's to be.
I can give you the exact amount, $69,801.08.
You got that, Norma?
I thought it was so much per person. Who's the
It's
0.8
61
person?
cents for 114,
Oh, okay.
428 people.
I was wondering who's the
114,428 people. We are down to this. And I will say that our census numbers are low. So we're kind of getting, kind of a break there.
So we need to work to keep our census numbers low for this
On
particular
that,
expenditure.
only through that number. Yes.
Okay, so,
So we have a
so I have a
motion.
motion and a second. Do any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. And again, that was $69,801.08.
Yeah.
So we'll get that processed. Thank you.
Because all we're really doing is designating what happens to the overpayment, otherwise it goes back
I
to
know.
the city.
I'm just going, are we ever gonna get anything out of this money?
Well, this will give us a chance to see.
I have a saying I developed, it's called we're locust farmers. Think about that till the next meeting.
Okay. The upcoming date for the next meeting is Thursday, November the 13th,
Yep.
3 p.m. Anybody have any conflict with it?
Nope.
One more item before we adjourn, that Blake has resigned. And so in the next 30 to 60 days, I'm guessing there'll be a new appointee for that position.
Also, one thing, board, the city council discussed possibly having a joint meeting with y'all. So be on the lookout for some possible dates to have a meeting with them.
Okay.
All right.
Who gets to set up here? No, I'm just teasing.
We get to sit the other way and look at it.
Two of us sit in one chair. That'll be
All right.
interesting.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.